is it true that Eric's mom worked through the alligator and then she's like, oh, it says no. And then just immediately squashes it. She is so whacked out. And then she immediately dismisses.
No, that's not it. Sorry, Eric.
No.
Oh my God.
Eric's crazy. That's not what happened. The crystal guide told me.
As her arm is going like this.
Yes, she's like this.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Welcome. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Keeley.
Thanks for coming back. I'm Jen.
This is Two Queens, One Screen podcast. Thank you so much for coming back. This is episode number 2, everybody. Big number 2. We're so happy you're here.
So happy that Keeley's here. We really miss each other because we are very far away.
Yep.
And so this is very nice to get a chance to be together and then force everyone else to watch.
Force everyone else to watch. I like that because that goes with what I want to talk about for my week. Force everybody else to watch.
Ooh, I want to hear it. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. So I know that you have deleted TikTok. I know that you had a small addiction to it and you don't look at it anymore. I, however, am still on TikTok. I love TikTok. We have a TikTok account. Go watch it. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. We have little short 5, 10, 20-second clips from our podcast that we think are really great. Anyway, so the TikTok accounts that I cannot stop watching, there are 2 of them. And the first one is this beautiful blonde woman from Australia. And she's in her 20s, I believe. Everybody's younger and in their 20s because I'm old as goddamn dirt. Her name is Blue Eyed Kayla Jade, and she is an S worker. Okay. She says that. She says S worker. She doesn't say the full word. She is an FS worker. And everybody comments. They're like, what is FS? I don't know what FS is. And it's full S worker. It's full. She does everything.
She'll do it all. Okay.
She does it all.
Right.
And she just gets on there and tells you about her clients. And then she counts her money. And she does a get ready with me. And it is amazing. She is stunning. I can't stop watching her videos. She has a gentleman client so she sees both sexes, men and women. Whatever. I'd probably do the same thing. So she really likes seeing the women clients and really talks quite highly about how much she enjoys that. Anyway, she has this one gentleman client she calls Peggy Sue because he likes to, from behind, he likes to peg from behind. So she calls him.
He likes to get it.
Yes. So she's named him Peggy Sue.
Well, that's clever.
Peggy Sue. I can't. I'm in love with her. She also she talked about 2 brothers that she had a booking with. So everybody was getting worked up. They were like, are they together? How did that work? And they were both with her. One was with her, then the other one was with her. They were not together. So
not at the same time.
No, not at the same time.
Okay.
She gets flown all over the world. She gets
good for her.
Thousands of dollars, $10,000 at a time, $3,000 at a time to go in and have these meetings with these people. She has a lot of couples, male and female at the same time, right? Married couples. I love listening to her. Her storytelling is beautiful. You're missing out.
And see, here's the thing. You're saying that, and I'm sitting here going like, gosh, I really want that.
Missing
out. I would lose hours. I had a full-on addiction. It is a true thing. Some people can handle it. Some people can't. I can handle my booze, cannot handle my TikTok. I will lose hours to my TikTok. And that is exactly what I would follow. And you made a couple points here that I need to let you know that I relate to. One, TikTok would 100%, you said you're in love with her. TikTok was like, you're a lesbian. I was like, I don't think I'm a lesbian today. I'm open to the community. I'm an ally. Yeah. But like not my thing. I've never delved really into that, and I don't think I'm very happy with what I have, which is a man. But they're like, you love lesbians. My TikTok, all lesbian content.
Sure.
Which was delightful.
It is very informative and educational. Let me just tell you. Yeah. Lesbian content is so educational.
Cooking, home repair,
teaching,
self-pleasure.
Hello.
Everything.
They know everything.
They know everything. They know everything. And I have actually, what you're experiencing, what do they call it? Parasocial? Is that what it's called? Parasocial
no
relationships?
Idea. I've never even heard that word.
You create a relationship. I think this is what it is. Someone's going to correct me. I think what it is when you feel like your friends, feel like you have a genuine connection, like a real connection with someone online that you've watched. So you become very immersed in their life, even though they have no idea who you are. It's just that you feel connected because 100%. You watched all their stuff.
She just got 1 million followers. I can't. I'm obsessed with her.
Good for her.
And I watch her videos sparingly because I'm like, I can't come to a point where I've watched them all. I don't want to be that person. I'm like, I can't wait for another one. And they are not, I don't know how to explain it. It is not disgusting. It's not gross. She is the most beautiful storyteller of how and what she does to these people or what they do to her. I'm not even kidding. I know that sounds so stupid.
No, this is her storytelling is the same thing as everyone reading the books of something in Thorns or whatever, right? It's like you can enjoy it and it can be written in a beautiful way. It does not have to be smut.
No, it's not smut.
And some smut can be pretty.
And she has a beautiful Australian accent on top of it that I'm losing it. I just can't get enough.
Loves an accent.
I do love an accent. I told you that on TikTok is what I am obsessing over. I will leave the other one for next week because I've been talking for over 7 minutes about my week.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay, you go now. It's your turn.
Okay, so my week, I have become, and I think you can attest to this.
Yes.
I have become an entirely new version of myself this week.
Yay!
Entirely new version. In a very great way, I am on new meds.
Yeah.
And so one of the great things that we've learned about each other is that we have very similar diagnoses and have randomly been prescribed the same medication.
Yes.
Different doses.
Yes.
But same stuff. And I told you what it was going to be, and you were like, oh my gosh, here it comes. And it's 100% true. Yes. I had no idea. I knew that I had stress, and I knew that I had anxiety at times, and I knew that I would feel overwhelmed sometimes.
Preach. Preach.
Yeah.
I love this.
I had no idea that I have lived under the oppressive weight of constant anxiety my entire life. I had no idea. I wasn't in touch with it. I thought that sometimes I had it. No, I had it all the time. I had racing thoughts all the time.
Yes.
It's just that normal people don't live like that.
No. So there is such a thing out there. People don't live like the way we live. What? What is that? No.
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 I'm
No.
very excited to start doing things where like I would feel stressed out.
I just want to dance for you. This is the best thing ever. I just want to dance for you because I can't. I am so happy for you because I wanted this to work for you so much because it worked so well for me in my mental health.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to Universal. And one of the things that stresses me out about Universal is walking through, right?
God.
Go through Hogsmeade, and like there's so many people, and I just constantly feel like we need to get out of everyone's way. We need to be aware of the flow of everyone, and I'm so aware of the flow of everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, Matt, how does no one else think about, like, I get shoved all the time. How does no one else think about it? I'm wondering if I'm going to go become a shover. Like, am I going to have not the confidence, but the not constant vigilance?
It's just not there, is what I explained to you before. Since I've been on the meds, it's not there. I'll look at a problem and go, I would have lost my shit and had some sort of episode, meltdown, panic attack. And I'm looking at it going, nope. And then we're done. Nothing. I got nothing.
Have not yelled at my kids once this week.
Woo!
And they are almost teenagers. They're hormonal middle schoolers. I haven't yelled at them once. Matt and I are great.
Yes.
Everything's great. My work, all done ahead of time. Everything's done and done well. My whole house cleaned. My office fully redone. Everything's great. Yeah. I'm very excited. So on that positive note about how everything is great for me,
mental health
here in yes. That's the upside. There's also the other side of living in Florida. I am a Florida woman, but I'm like apparently not like a normal one. There's also Florida man, and that's what I want to talk about is episode 2. You promised me that it was going to be amazing, and it was. On Max, it's Florida man. I didn't realize there was a comma.
And guess what it's called?
Comma man.
Guess what it's called, people? It's called Gator. It's called Gator. Because that's this episode is chef's kiss. It is
exactly what I thought of when I thought of a Florida man.
100%. There is no denying. We meet a lovely gentleman named Eric. Eric is lovely. Eric is he's in his 20s, do you think? Late 20s, maybe, or mid 20s?
He has the face of probably a 50 or 60-year-old man, but he's actually probably 20 because of the life that he has lived and the style in which he's lived it. Keeley keeps saying lovely. She means bless your heart kind of lovely.
Yes, I do.
He is a mess. Yes. He is this little, and I mean all of this in the kindest way. Bold-headed, scrawny, lived his life in a rough and tumble sort of way kind of guy.
Very difficult life. He probably had some drug addiction or some drug use in his 100%. Past.
Or currently,
his mouth reflects that with his leftover teeth that we see.
It's a jack-o'-lantern mouth.
But this man smiles the entire time that he is explaining the experience that he has with, guess what, people? Yes, you said it, a gator. The experience he has with the gator in Florida. Where he lives, and it's real. I just can't. It's my favorite.
Maybe he's on the same meds that we are, but yeah, he is so positive.
Positive.
He's so positive. And he starts the story.
Yes.
He hates his job. He works fixing sprinklers. Very Florida.
Yep.
He just got kicked out by his girlfriend. They broke up. He's just feeling like a mess. And we need to be clear. I said drugs, you said drugs. There's something there, but it is never he talks about how he was kind of going the wrong direction in life, making the wrong choices in life. They never explicitly say it.
No.
But like,
no, he doesn't admit to it. You absolutely profile him 100%. And
yes, I did.
That's just what you do as a human by looking at him. And that's what you jump to. He doesn't ever say it, and that's okay. But yeah, he says he has all of these things, and we end up where?
Lake Manatee.
Yep.
Which,
in the lake.
Fun fact, it's just east of Sarasota, which is west of me.
Yeah.
Florida, I think Florida has like 3 or 4 of the most crocodile-filled lakes per mile or whatever gallon. I don't know.
People you don't know they're in there. You don't see them.
No, you don't see them.
You don't see them. No.
Well, occasionally, and I would actually say, as a newer Florida resident, I am constantly disappointed by how few gators I see on a regular basis.
No, and that's fine. I mean, when I visited, I saw one every here and there. I mean, you do see them. It's not like you're not going to see them. But people, like in movies, they think that you see
that they're
head.
Everywhere in their heads.
No.
I live south of Lake Jessup, which has the like densest population of gators. They take gators there that are considered nuisance gators. So if you live in a neighborhood and there's a gator in the neighborhood and it's eating somebody's cat or dog, then they Fish and Game or wildlife comes and takes them, and then they dump them in this lake. And they're 2 times per day, like right in the morning as the sun's coming up and right at dusk time. If you're driving over this lake, you can see, I'm not joking, hundreds of gator heads swimming. And this is a giant lake. I'm from the Northern Virginia, like Chesapeake area. And like when you would go over the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, there'd be boats and stuff. And it's like this giant mass of water. You're going over Lake Jessup in Florida. There's not a boat. There's never a boat, which I thought was weird until I learned about that's where they put all the gators.
Yeah.
There are these houses, but you never see anyone there. There's no fishing or anything. You don't go in that lake because you will die.
No, you don't go swimming. And what does he do?
He
goes swimming, everybody.
He goes swimming. And he calls himself a Florida man. Here's the thing.
Yep.
He's like, his girlfriend broke up with him. He hates his job. He goes on a drive just to like find freedom.
Sure.
Find freedom.
Yeah.
On this drive.
Yeah.
And he goes to Lake Manatee. He's like, I'm going to clean this area up, and starts making little piles of trash all over. And people see him do this and they're like, what is he doing?
And are you a good Samaritan? He is.
He's
I'm
a good
telling
guy.
you, he's lovely. This is a word to describe Eric is lovely. And I know
it's a word.
Who just gets out of their car and starts to clean up the trash on the side of the highway? No one.com except Eric. No one.com.
And then
Eric does.
Yeah, and as he's cleaning, he's thinking people want to hang out here. He finds a dumpster.
Yes.
He's like, people are here to enjoy nature and freedom in America. And then he sees a fence in the woods, in the swampy woods. And he's like, I need to go
over
this fence. What does he say? He's like, the fence represents a border that he needs to break to reach his freedom. And he went over and then came back under, and he went over and came back under. But he gets through the fence and he just starts walking through the woods. He said that the swamp was calling him.
Yes. Of course it did. Look at sweet Eric. Of course it would talk to him.
And he gets lost.
He's all cut up. He's bleeding. He finally finds the water. It's dark, right?
Yeah.
He sees all the stars in the sky. And what's he do? He gets in that lake.
And he says, I'm a Florida man. I can swim.
Okay.
If you're a Florida man, and he acknowledges this a couple minutes later, if you're a Florida person, the first thing you know about water is every source of water in Florida has a gator in it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have gator in it.
Yep.
You assume it has a gator
Yep.
in it. That is just what it is.
Yep.
And I've only lived here for a short time, and I have been screamed at all over the place. Like, get away from that. Because if you're too close, it's probably got a gator in it. Get away. And he goes, I'm a Florida man. I can swim. And then he's swimming. He takes off his boots because they're weighing him down. And he's like,
and
oh
his
my
pants.
gosh, it's hard to swim.
And his jeans.
And he also,
Yeah.
he does just start taking off all his pants because it's like too heavy. And then all of a sudden he's like, it's hard to swim.
Oops.
And I just lost my boots. I'm going to try and find them.
Wait
and
a
he's
minute.
like, oh, I bet there's a gator in here.
There's probably gators in here. Wait a minute. Whoops.
The second he thinks that, yes, there is.
Hi.
Right there.
There it is. There it is.
Oh.
And he tries to swim away as he does a stroke, overhand, and it takes his arm. Just crunch. Takes his arm. It tries to do a roll. It tries to roll him. He says that he's not going to do a roll. So it takes his arm finally, right? He struggles with it. Just rips it off.
It right off.
He struggles. He gets to shore, right? He swims to shore. He's like, God, this thing is going to kill me. He gets to shore. He's thinking, I don't know where this gator is. He is on this lake shore, people, for 3 days.
Yeah.
3 days.
Drinking muddy water.
With a bloody stump, y'all. A bloody stump. The poor man.
Here's another thing about Florida. Most Floridians, like, you have a healthy respect of giving gators space. My dad also lives in Florida now, not a native Floridian, but, you know, he was in an area called Okeechobee where he used to go running through the state park there. And there are just giant 6 to 10 foot gators that just chill out on the path because it's warm, like asphalt, like going through the swamp, the woods. And you kind of have to just, if you're out for a jog, which my dad does, he goes for a jog and he has to run around the gator, and that's just what you do. So you deal with them. You know that for the most part, here's another thing that's genuinely very scary about Florida: the ants. Ants in Florida do not fuck around. They are scary as shit. If you step on it, it's happened to me, it's happened to my son, it's happened to my husband multiple times. The second that you are walking through the grass and you get on one of their little mounds and you don't even see it, your shoe is covered in less than a second. You don't have a shoe anymore. It is completely covered in ants within seconds. And the bites, when they bite you, it stings and itches and hurts so fucking bad for weeks.
Again, here we are again.
I know.
You're winning your legal argument to never, ever, ever go live in, dwell, have a job, and be near, around, reside in Florida. You just keep spewing more evidence to not be there. You just
really
keep digging a bigger hole to convince people not to be there.
Not to live in Florida.
Yes.
There are a lot of reasons to live in Florida that I'll come up with eventually.
No, there's not. Everybody, she keeps saying, are you going to come and visit? And I keep telling her no. I love you, and I don't ever want to go there again. My husband and our granddaughter will happily go and visit.
They're going to come.
I will say hello,
gonna be fun.
And I will not go there ever again.
That's okay. I understand. I will come to Boise. I will come see you.
Please.
So Florida
is terrible.
So he's out there. He's out there.
Days.
He's like, for 3 days, he's laying and getting eaten by ants. Also, and like slowly like losing his mind.
Yes.
And he knows that he's also being stalked by the gator, which is 100% a real thing. He's just ready to finally die. He said he's looking for vultures. He's laying there. He's ready to, he hasn't eaten. He's lost all this blood. He's ready to go. He's finally like letting go of life.
And he is so happy. He's got the biggest smile on his face. He couldn't be more thankful for his life. I have never, ever, ever, ever seen a person more thankful in their entire life. They've been left.
He's self-aware. He's
is
self-aware, which is also nice.
But
he goes, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'll stab you with the sharpest tool. And he's like,
yep. Look at me go. I made a joke.
He's so sweet and fun, and he'll stab you, and I believe him.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Is this where he talks about his mom?
But he says, yes. You could go into it.
No, he basically says that he believes that the gator took his arm. His how did he say it? His mom. How did he say it? His mom was the gator. No.
Spiritually took his arm because
to teach him a lesson.
He was on a bad path.
Yes.
Spiritually, his dead mother worked through the gator to take his arm.
I'm dead, everybody. I'm dead watching this show.
Here's the next level of it is Sarasota again. They find Alyssa Benson, who is a hypnotherapist from Sarasota. She specializes in past life regression, and she's sitting there with like the little metal things, and she's like, oh, here's who's got the energy in here. And she is wild. I would love, she's really bad at math.
Totally.
Oh my God, she's like 2 for 1 special. I'll give you half off. Usually I charge $250, but I'll charge you $175. Like, that's not how math works. But she's talking about, I've lived in Egypt. I lived in ancient Rome. I've had a past life here and here. And you're like, you're wild. And she's
Breathe
like,
it
all
out.
right. So the documentary crew goes to her as an expert. So we know now she's not a real expert of anything.
No, that's a very loose word. Expert.
She uses a crystal, and she's dangling a crystal, and she's
asking it questions.
Tell us, this means yes, this means no, and she's asking them all sorts of questions, and like her spirit guides
is moving the crystal,
are telling her
supposedly.
Yeah. Yes. And then she's like, is it true that Eric's mom worked through the alligator? And then she's like, oh, it says no. And then just immediately squashes it. She is so whacked out. And then she immediately dismisses.
No, that's not it. Sorry, Eric.
No.
Oh my God.
Eric's crazy. That's not what happened. The crystal guide told me.
As her arm is going like this.
Yes, she's like this.
Moving it.
So she's wiggling everywhere around.
The spirit guide is moving it. What? What are you talking about?
Oh, I just love it. So the other expert that they have is this other guy who I feel like was another. He's like a smarter.
Ooh, good one.
He's a more established.
Getting better.
Florida man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Florida man who. He's a wildlife expert. He pulled out Matilda, his brand new alligator that he's trying to imprint on.
Oh my gosh.
He's like rubbing her all over his face.
Yes. I really wanted her to bite his nose off. I was waiting for
I was waiting for it.
Take that fucking thing and we're just going to get blood and gore. I really wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
It didn't.
But he just kind of... It didn't happen.
No.
She's a little baby alligator.
Yeah.
And she's going to think she's people, I think, by the end of this. But I just really enjoyed how he's explaining how gators do the role, and they absolutely will eat you.
Yeah.
And so Eric's, on the side of the pond. He's kind of wandered around
his bloody
a little
stump.
bit within those 3 stay with his bloody stump, and he finally collapses, sees a beer bottle, realizes that that's a sign of civilization.
Love it.
And just starts screaming.
Yeah.
And then Rick, who's just driving by, probably on vacation. He seems like a snowbird.
Sweet Rick.
He finds him. Eric's naked, half an arm, dying.
I want to fucking
muddy,
see that
scratched
so
up.
bad. What? You're just driving along. Your name is Rick, and you're just driving along, listening to God knows what, right? On the radio. Margaritaville. You're in Florida, and you're like, there's a naked guy with half an arm, probably just looking and smelling like death, and maybe this is Rick's first time in Florida. Another reason not to go to fucking Florida.
Rick is genuinely traumatized. But poor
Rick helps little Eric.
And what's great about it is as Eric's telling this story, they also have Rick telling the story, and they kind of reunite them, and they give each other like a half hug because, you know, Eric only has one arm anyway. And you can tell Rick is traumatized. You can tell that basically the whole thing is just uncomfortable for everyone.
Yes.
And sweet Eric, dumb lollipop, sweet as can be, so dumb, just sitting there going, I want to go back in. He's looking at the fence. He's like, guys, I would go back in. I would go do it again. The call of the wild.
He finds the exact spot where he went in.
And you can see he genuinely wants to jump back in.
He does.
That experience gave him a renewed sense of purpose. God. It gave him a thirst for life.
Yeah. Yes.
That's just incredible.
Tell everybody what he does now. What does he do for a living? Well, I don't know if he's doing
it. I know what he wants to do. Yes. I don't know if he's actually doing it.
Tell everybody.
He wants to be a motivational speaker now for church.
Motivated me. He's motivated me.
You are genuinely moved by his story by his energy.
I am.
His energy moves you.
Yes. He's a part of me now. He is. Yes. He is the only thing about Florida that I like, really. The only thing. I love little Eric. No, don't take it personal. Don't do that.
I'm not taking it personally. I am not a part of Florida.
That's
I am in Florida, but I am not of it.
That's right. And neither is your dad. If he's listening and watching, don't take it personal. It's not about you, sir.
We are in Florida. We are not of Florida.
That's right.
However, Eric 100% is.
Absolutely.
He feels that a piece of him.
Absolutely.
If a piece of shit like me can come out of that, then I know you can. Because ain't nobody a bigger piece of shit than I am.
Oh my God.
What Eric
that water
said.
almost came out my nose.
Well, that's what he said. And he also said that because his arm got eaten, he is now physically part of the swamp.
Yes. What?
And so he feels himself in the swamp because the gator ate his arm. And so they have a kinship now.
Praise
the
Jesus.
Swamp as a whole, not
Praise
just the gator. Good
Jesus.
for him.
I love it. And that's it. We're wrapping up Florida Man. Do you have to watch it? It's the most fantastic ever. If you're ever feeling down, if politics aren't your thing, like it's not mine, this changed my life. Watching this show changed my life. I feel so much better. The meds, the cocktail of this and the meds, I feel so much better. You'll feel so much better. Go and watch it.
My life has changed for the better this week, and it's meds and it's Florida Man.
It is.
Simon Rex plays him and does a great job.
So wonderful. And
it's just the whole thing. It's worth watching. We can't even express. It's worth the 30 to 45 minutes of your day.
Yes.
I don't even know. Can we get off of this high and go? Because that is our trash, our lovely trash that we rolled around in like raccoons. And now we have our other segment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to crash that with our smash.
Yes.
Smash all that down and go into murder. Tone shift.
Murder. We're going to talk about I Am a Killer, season 5, episode 2, everybody. This one is called,
Netflix.
Lost Innocence. And this one has 2 murderers. Yes, 2 murderers. And they were teenagers. Yeah.
They were teenagers. So we've got Christian and Ashley.
Yes.
Christian was 16 when this happened.
Yes.
Ashley was 17.
Yes.
They were boyfriend, girlfriend.
Cougar. Yep.
There's so many parts of this, and I don't know that we need to go blow by blow.
No.
But in general, we have Christian, who is a loner, and a lot of that stems from he had been, when he was younger, his mom's boyfriend had abused him.
Yes. And so his grandparents did foster care and then ultimately adopted him. So he went to live with them. Mm-hmm. And that his grandmother is the victim.
Mhm.
So he shot and killed his grandmother when he was 16. And his basic reasoning is that she was even worse of an abuser than his mother's boyfriend. So that is his story. So, they talked to the prosecutor, right, that did his CP case, and the prosecutor that did his murder case, and she had no idea that he was being abused by his grandmother. So that was really hard to watch for her anyway, because she said, I would have done something, if he would have said to us, we would have placed him somewhere else. We wouldn't have had that situation for him. But here's the dilemma that I want to talk about, because there are people in this show, family, friends, that say Ashley is a terrible person and Christian would have never have done it if he would have never met her. And there are people that say he would have done it regardless if he met her or not. And I don't know what you think about that. Do you believe it was all her? Or do you believe he was the way he was?
Everyone says there's a clear point of when his demeanor changed and when they connected. They met through band. They'd gone through school forever, but then they got in band together, and there was like a fun rivalry that turned into a friendship that turned into them dating.
Yes.
And people describe their relationship as she would say jump and he would say how high. And
he described their relationship as he was very controlling over her and she was afraid of him. Yes.
But very, very different. And so everyone from the outside is saying, yes, she controlled that relationship. She controlled him. The second that they got together is when he started changing.
Yeah.
She had a bad relationship with his mom with her mom. With her mother. And then all of a sudden he starts being really rebellious with his grandparents. So was she an influence on him for that? Then also, for some reason, he goes and moves in with her and her family.
Yeah.
And at first it's great. And then what's interesting is both of them, both Christian and Ashley, say everything was great. And then it started going downhill. And he takes full responsibility. Throughout all of this, he goes, it wasn't her fault. She didn't know it wasn't her fault. And she's like, I was scared of him. He said that he was going to do it. Initially was like, this girl is a victim of this boy who's very angry, but he's had a lot of trauma, but that's turning him into kind of a scary, violent person.
Yes.
He has a gun. His grandparents had guns. He had access to weapons, and he's threatening to kill. He's telling her that he's going to kill her dad at one point. He's telling her that he's going to kill her family, she says. So she just went along with everything. They decide to run away, and they first get to his aunt's house. And they break into his aunt's house to steal her car and money. She's not home. And then he leaves Ashley at his aunt's house and goes to his grandparents.
Which is near. Yeah, that's near.
Which is near. He says, I'm going to be back in 15 minutes. Goes, ends up seeing, he was planning on killing both his grandparents, only sees his grandmother, shoots his grandmother in the cheek, in the face.
Yeah.
She's still moving on the ground. He shoots her in the back of the head. He goes, I fucked up, goes back. They go on the run.
Yeah.
They get picked up a day later. Now, she says, I had no idea who was going to do that.
Yep.
I didn't know. I didn't believe him. He said he might do it, but I didn't believe him. But also she was scared enough to leave her family because she was scared that he was going to hurt her family.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conflicting things in that. I think that they were kids that got wrapped into something they were in way over their heads in this narrative that they had created with each other. And I think he completely subscribed to it And I think she was kind of just living off the high of the drama of it, but motivated him to do all of these horrible things. Ugh.
I think her red flag for me, I was thinking she is a victim this entire time because she seems very demure, right? She's talking softly. She talks slowly. She's very immediate with what she's answering. You know, she's saying what's going on. And then she comes to the part where she says, I made up a lie to my mother to get Christian to be able to move in. And I'm like, what's that about? What is that? Why? And I get you're a teenager and you probably don't like your parents, and that's fine. But I'm thinking this is weird. It was a red flag for me in the beginning. And then just these red flags kept ticking off the entire time that she's not as innocent as she is making herself out to be. That being said, he has been traumatized and perpetrated on his entire life. And I am not surprised that he turned around and killed someone. I believe that it was completely in him to do it this entire time. I don't believe that had he not met her, he wouldn't have done it. I don't believe that for a half a second. I think he would have done it anyway if he hadn't have met her. But I don't believe that she was the complete total meaning for him to do it. Like Lori was the grandmother's daughter that said Ashley made him do it. And the friend from high school said Ashley made him do it. These two people said Christian never would have done it. Christian's just this innocent little nerdy kid that keeps to himself. He would have never have done anything. And I don't believe that. I'm not saying that everybody who's perpetrated against is going to go kill people. I'm saying that there's a more likelihood that you live in that environment and you're just going to not be able to cope and you're going to want to get out so badly.
I would agree. I think she unearthed something in him because she said that she needed him to move in with her to protect her from her mom.
Yeah.
And we never hear from anyone in her family about this.
And I don't believe that for 1 second. Not at all.
I'm sure that they had a volatile relationship. And it's a bizarre situation when your 17-year-old daughter is moving in her 16-year-old boyfriend and you're like, chill with that? I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know that I totally believe that Christian's grandmother was this horrific abuser either. Everyone that knew the grandmother was like, she's super stand-up citizen. She was super caring. They got him every kind of help that he could need. But I think, he was 8 when he started getting abused. I think that he was broken. And I think that there's, a certain level of not being able to cope with the horrible things that had happened. And it's awful, horrible for everyone involved. I do think there's something about Ashley that I felt like there were parallels between her and that case several years ago with the girlfriend who egged her boyfriend on to kill himself. Oh my God,
yes. Yep.
And that definitely was like a thing that I kind of got that vibe from it. And she's like, I wouldn't have done it. What put Ashley in prison and Christian gets 35 years. He took a plea deal.
Yep.
He didn't even go to trial. He just immediately was like, I'm guilty.
Yep.
And that's what they went with. Then there is Ashley, who went to trial. She was like, I thought that everyone would see that I was a victim in this. But the way that the Texas law worked, because she knew that he was going to do it, she didn't try and stop him. She didn't try and tell anyone. She did nothing to prevent it. And then she went on the run with him. She is complicit.
Yep.
And that is why she is in prison. She's in prison for 30 years. Then we hear from her lawyer who is going to do an appeal. He says, look at everything that Christian says. Christian says it's not her fault. Christian says she didn't know, didn't she had no reason to believe that he would do this. So you're watching them kind of build this case for her appeal. And what's so interesting about the way that they do this docuseries is they go a few months later and you see that she pled guilty. She's not fighting it. She's not appealing it anymore. She's like, I am guilty of that because I didn't try and stop it. And that's such an interesting, I didn't expect that. Did you see that coming?
Well, no. And then I wrote down that in the second interview she did with the police, she admitted that she helped Christian load the rifle.
Oh, yeah.
So she knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
She knew what was happening. She knew what he was doing. And yeah, it's just hard for me. I mean, I don't like this I'm a victim kind of thing and try and she just kept saying, I need less time. I don't think 30 years is too much time for me. I didn't do anything. He got 35 years and I get 30 years. I didn't do anything. I don't know. She's got so many red flags that, yeah. It's the show is really interesting. Like I said last week, that they have the police version of what happened, and then they have the person that committed the crime, their version of what happened. And usually they don't mix. Usually they're not the same thing. And you always find out later when they do that, 4 or 5 months later, they start to listen to each other's interviews. Or you find out, like you said, that she pled guilty. And you're going,
but
wait.
Even after she pled guilty and she said, I am guilty.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think I should have to be in here for 30 years. But I am guilty. And I just thought that was a little, is it because she's not very smart? Like, what? I don't know. I don't know that she has a full grasp on why she's where she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
But even to this day, Christian feels guilt. Not about what he's done, because he said that he isn't upset. He wouldn't change anything. He just wishes he wasn't the one that did it.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't the one that killed his grandma, but he's not sad that his grandma's dead.
Yeah.
And the thing that he regrets is that anything bad happened to Ashley because of it.
Yeah. That just completely proves my point that I think he would have done it regardless. He's so damaged and he's so traumatized. And I know that you said that you don't think that the grandma did anything. I mean, I don't know if she did
I don't know.
horrible things. I think she probably wasn't the kindest to him. I think there was, there's a spectrum. I don't know that she was as kind as she probably should have been to him. She was probably not very nice and probably was a mean lady. And in his mind, right, that equals someone who deserves to die. I don't know. They just can't, they don't have coping skills, right? They don't know what to do.
I mean,
they feel like they're trapped.
They're 16 and 17, and then they become each other's universe.
Yep.
And then they become this very high stakes, high drama hormones of, we have to get out of here. I'm going to kill your dad. Okie dokie is a text message that they sent to each other. And it's just, they're so sure they don't have a full understanding of what's going to happen. And it's so tragic. It's so tragic. He's done this horrible thing that he can never take back. Yeah. He's so broken that I don't think he sees or understands the gravity of what he's done, or accepts that isn't an okay response to trauma. Her life is ruined. His life is ruined. Everyone around them is victims in this. And yet I think because of the severity of what they've done, they're never going to be able to grow beyond it.
Oh, sure.
Oh, and that just, oh.
Yeah, He just seems like you said, he is not sad that his grandma is dead. So when you had programming in prison, right? Some programming is to find remorse, right? That programming is not going to work for him. And I believe partly because he had such a terrible traumatic childhood that's not ever going to be a thing for him. What his programming is going to be is just trying to survive. That's it. I don't know if he's ever going to get out. I don't, he doesn't look like a person that's going to walk around murdering people to me. I don't think so. He looks like somebody who could get highly triggered and then just go off, right? He's one of those people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But I don't think he's just this vindictive, I'm going to just kill everybody. She, on the other hand, has some work to do in understand what her part in it was. I still think, and it's been she's been in prison for 10 years now or something like that.
Yeah.
And she still doesn't get it. I don't think she gets it.
No.
I don't think she ever will, honestly.
I don't know if she has the capacity to understand it on an intellectual level.
Yeah.
And emotionally, I think that she is going to be stunted at 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is such a tragedy. And you look at a lot of these killers in this show are very young. Last episode, Jamel, this one, your brain hasn't developed yet. You've been so influenced by either your experiences, where you've grown up, the environment you've grown up in, those traumas. And then also, I think specifically for Ashley, is this romanticized Bonnie and Clyde, us against the world, high stakes, which I think is kind of intoxicating.
Sure.
Especially when you don't have the access to understand the genuine, horrific repercussions of, what you're doing. And they've become this, echo chamber for each other. It's so tragic. It's so sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know that Christian's ever going to, I think he's a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
He seems like a very smart guy. I don't think that he's going to be able to function outside of prison in 20 years.
No.
It's just...
I don't think she will either on the level that she will be able to take responsibility for anything, right? You have to be a responsible person to live outside of prison, right? You have to get a job. You have to show up for the job. You have to, pay your bills. You have to get a car. You can't just have everybody else do everything for you. And then when it doesn't happen, right, you cope with doing drugs and drinking alcohol and, making bad decisions because that's what you do and that's how you cope. That's what I see her doing if she ever were to get out, that she wouldn't take responsibility for life, just life, right, in general. She could get a job wherever, but then she wouldn't show up and say, well, why I don't like this job. Why would I show up? Because it's somebody else's responsibility to make her show up. And
I think your insight on this probably comes a lot from your job because this is what you see.
Yeah.
So when you're saying this, you're projecting out what you see. It's because there's a pattern here that you are familiar with working in the court system.
Yep. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. It's just too bad that these two young people are stuck and that this happened to them and their family. But yeah, that was this episode for I Am a Killer. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
It was definitely a really interesting thing, and it's left me with a lot of... Last time I was when does someone deserve forgiveness? When does someone deserve to move on and have a life after they've murdered someone?
Yeah.
And in this one, it's just do you ever move forward? Can these people ever move forward? Can these people ever really be accountable? Can they even hold themselves accountable?
And I tried to figure out who I believed, right? Which one I thought it was more believable. I don't know.
Yeah. A lot of interesting things to ponder on.
Yes.
And I really liked this one.
That was really, really good. Well, that is our show. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. We really appreciate you.
And any of your feelings that you have, we'll be posting this all over the place. So wherever you're listening, if it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc., let us know what you thought about, who do you think was telling the truth? Who do you think is lying? Where do you think that line is for you?
Yeah.
I think it would be a really interesting discussion. I want to hear what other people think too.
Yeah, me too. Okay, everybody. See you next week. Same time, same channel. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.